Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, brethrens and non-brethrens? Let's go over this final slate. So if you're from the YouTube side of things, I make a post on this Reddit called DFS Sports. Gets a lot of traction, a lot of guys that talk strategy, a very good strategy, a lot of good players in this community as well. You could definitely learn a lot of things. Everything is completely free. You can ask me questions. I don't post cores anymore, but you can ask me whatever. Try to refrain from direct pivots, but outside of that, ask me whatever. Thoughts on players, etc. Any news that comes out, like tomorrow's starting lineup, with the Warriors, will probably tell some things. I make updates, tell you what I think happens with the rotation, etc., etc. If you ever need to get a hold of me, you can either message me on Reddit, username shook underscore dash, or you can come over to Twitter, message me on Twitter. That is completely okay too. Or you can just comment down here. So it's been a rough few days for me, DFS wise. Punted like $500 in the last 3 days. So that's been pretty fun. I can show you. Also, guys, if you're from the YouTube side of things, I show you my lineups every day to prove to you that I am making money playing DFS. I do make money doing this. I am a winning player, so you know the content that I'm giving out is definitely quality. So yeah, I show you my lineups with every sport I play, just to make sure you guys understand that I'm not just some dumbass touting some dumbass takes. So, yep. So let's go over yesterday. I got home 5 minutes before lock. I just entered like a $15 contest. Usually I enter like a $100 single entry for MLB or like a $75 single entry. Still cashed even with Gore. Pretty impressive in my opinion. NBA went pretty bad for me. I put Otto in the captain. I got Steve Kerr. Just super, super unfortunate there. Never trusting Steve Kerr ever again. If Otto Porter Jr. just has a decent game, it's a really good night, but just unfortunate there. And then I did a $100 single entry for the third round of PGA. I got absolutely destroyed. Um, Scheffler was very underwhelming in that round. Mitchell, I was extremely high on, was very, very underwhelming in that round as well. And then pretty much all my players were like Shane Lowry was mediocre. Just so unfortunate there. Um, and then today with NASCAR, I just got absolutely murdered. Bubba Wallace just absolutely destroyed me. But as long as my lineups are the same as the Sharks, look at this. McLovin, absolute crusher. Me and him always land on the same lineup in MLB or in NBA, NASCAR. We always have the same lineup. Just unfortunate. Bubba Wallace just completely murdered me. So yeah, I got absolutely destroyed on NASCAR today. Today was my second week not cashing in NASCAR. So I think I've cashed, I think there's been 14 weeks of NASCAR. I've cashed 12 out of 14 weeks, I believe. So I knew I was going to have a week of not cashing. Just unfortunate the week that I go pretty big. Played $200 in single entry double ups. Yeah, it's just really, really unfortunate there. All right, I'm not going to hold you guys too much longer. Firstly, I want to go over the rotation for both teams real quick. So, Bielitsa's still in the rotation. Was kind of surprised by that, but that's good to see. There isn't much value on the slate. Jordan Poole's minutes are all over the place, which we know that's the risk with him. Gary Payton's been losing minutes. Andrew Wiggins has been gaining minutes. Draymond Green lost minutes last game, but I don't expect him to get benched again. Otto Porter Jr. obviously lost minutes, and Kevon Looney gained minutes, which I expect that to happen once again here. On to the Boston side. So we know Smart, Tatum are both going to play 40 plus minutes. We know Jaylen Brown's going to play 40 plus minutes. We saw Robert Williams play 32 minutes. We saw with the emergence of Robert Williams, Al Horford losing minutes, which I think makes sense. I think Robert Williams just matches much better with Golden State than Al Horford does. Um, Robert Williams can just eat on the glass, and he can get those blocks very easily. And then we saw Derek White play 35 plus minutes, which I also think that makes sense. They need more offense out there. I don't think it makes sense to go to Grant Williams. He might have gained a little extra minutes from Grant Williams' foul trouble, but that's completely okay. I'm still expecting over 30 minutes from Derek White. And then Peyton Pritchard still in the rotation, probably playing, probably about 10 minutes or so, which I don't expect to change. So, um, yeah, so do I expect the rotations to stay the same? No. These two teams have shown to go with completely different rotations every game. So, with the value plays, it's definitely pretty tricky. So, yeah, let's go over the slate though. Um, Golden State is where's Golden State? Fifth in pace and sixth in defensive rating. So Jayson Tatum, 11K. I don't really have to go over why I like Jayson Tatum, right? His minutes have been going up. Must-win game at Golden State went from 41 to 43 minutes. I'm expecting him to play about 44 to 45 minutes in this game. Golden State's pretty good, done a pretty good job with defending him offensively, but Jayson Tatum's still going to stuff the stat sheet. Um, he's a good rebounder, can get you assists, can facilitate nicely. Good defender, gonna get you blocks and steals as well. So yeah, I think Jayson Tatum definitely looks really good. Do I have a lean on Tatum versus Steph? I think Tatum's much safer. I think Tatum has the higher floor, but I think Steph has a decently high floor, but a higher ceiling. So maybe a small lean to Steph, but I think both look really good. Jaylen Brown 10K. It's going to be pretty hard for me to get to him on this slate when he's so close in price to Tatum and Steph Curry. Now, yeah, if you want to fade one of those guys for Jaylen Brown, it could definitely work in tournaments. I think more often than not, it's not going to work. But if you don't have salary to fit Tatum and Steph in, you could go like Tatum Brown or Steph Brown. I definitely don't hate that. I think Jaylen Brown has a much lower floor than Jayson Tatum, but he has a similar ceiling. A guy that's going to play 40 plus minutes as well. He's a decent rebounder too. Now he's not going to, facilitate as much as Jayson Tatum, but he can score just as much as Jayson Tatum can. So I think both the top two guys look good here in Boston, but with how this slate's panning out to more mid-range, in my opinion, it's going to be hard for me to get to Jaylen Brown. Marcus Smart 8-2. I'm expecting 40 minutes from him again. I think Marcus Smart makes for one of the best plays in the mid-range on this slate. A guy that can just do everything, phenomenal defender. Basically averages like 2 steals a game. That's already 4 points off the bat. And then he has an even higher ceiling with like going for more steals. He's obviously a decent rebounder for a guard. He's their main facilitator, so his floor is pretty high with the assists. He's shooting a lot more, which is really, really good to see. He's shooting a lot more threes. He wasn't doing that previously, if you can see. So with him shooting a lot more threes, that definitely opens up his ceiling more as well, plus his high floor. So I think Marcus Smart at 8-2 is a completely good play. I definitely do like him a lot in the mid range if you can fit him in. Al Horford 7K has been on a downtrend with the minutes. So with the emergence of Robert Williams, with the coming up of Robert Williams, I think Al Horford losing minutes definitely does make sense. I think Robert Williams definitely matches up better with Golden State than Al Horford does, and Robert Williams can just eat on the glass, get those blocks like he's been doing every slate. So Al Horford's nothing more than a contrarian play to me. Would I be surprised if he plays 35 plus minutes tomorrow? No, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm assuming Robert Williams, assuming he plays, is going to play similar minutes. And I think Al Horford's probably going to stay around that 30-minute mark. If Robert Williams is for some reason out, then Al Horford is going to look like the best mid-range play on the slate, and it's not even going to be close. But if Robert Williams is in, Al Horford is nothing more than a contrarian play. I'll explain why as well. With Robert Williams healthy and Robert Williams playing alongside Al Horford more with him gaining minutes, it just hurts Al Horford's floor. Like Robert Williams is going to take a lot of those rebounds. Robert Williams is going to get a lot of those blocks too. Al Horford will definitely facilitate a lot better than Robert Williams will. But with the rebounding going down with Robert Williams playing more minutes, and the minutes going down, just Al Horford's nothing more than a contrarian play to me. And then here we go, Robert Williams. So assuming he plays, and assuming he is full go, I'm expecting him to be full go. He's looked pretty good out there. Now, there is definitely risk with Robert Williams. He could go back to playing 20 to 25 minutes, and I wouldn't be surprised. He could play 31 minutes again, I wouldn't be surprised. But I will say this. If we're going to get 30 plus minutes of Robert Williams, and you guys knew I was extremely, extremely high on Robert Williams this slate because he was going to be loaned, that's not going to happen anymore. But I was extremely, extremely high on Robert Williams that slate. But yeah, if we're going to get 30 plus minutes of Robert Williams at 6.8K, give me all the Robert Williams. That price tag would be entirely too cheap. I think he would make for one of the best plays in the mid range. But like I said, there's risk. Like, it's not a given that he's going to play 30 plus minutes tomorrow. So do what you want with that info. Derek White's 6'4". How many fouls did Grant Williams have? He had 4. So Derek White played 36 minutes. Now, I don't know if we get 36 minutes again. He might have gained minutes from Grant Williams foul trouble. We can just look, actually. I can't tell who came in for Grant Williams. Marcus Smart did. I don't know, but I'm not sure if we get 36 minutes again from Derek White, but I would assume we get 30 plus minutes of Derek White. Um, Matches up better against Golden State. Golden State's obviously one of the best offensive teams in the league. So what does Boston have to do to match that? They have to go more offense. So that's why Grant Williams has been losing minutes, which I think makes complete sense why Derek White has been gaining minutes. I think they just need more offense out there. So Derek White probably going to play around 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. At 6.4K, definitely think he's going to be very low owned. I think Robert Williams and Kevon Looney and those Golden State Warriors guys are going to get a lot of ownership. I think Derek White's going to go pretty overlooked. So I think Derek White is definitely an interesting GPP play. I think his ownership is going to be very low. And Derek White definitely has a ceiling. Like we've seen it, like 30, 43, 39. So I am very intrigued by Derek White for tournaments. And then we get to this range where it's really hard to get to anyone else. Like Grant Williams, 3.8K has lost minutes to foul trouble. My guess for minutes, he probably plays around 20, but he's more out there for his defense. He's not a good point per minute guy at all. The price has come down to 3.8K, so I think he's honestly a playable option. If he's hitting his shots, he definitely can have a ceiling game. But usually for Grant Williams to get there, he needs like 30 plus minutes to pay off. Especially when he needs 15 plus fantasy points to pay off at 3.8K, you're gonna need like 15 plus. So usually he needs those minutes to get there. But in 20 minutes, if Grant's hitting shots, he can definitely pay off at 3.8K. So I think Grant is just like a playable option, but you're not gonna feel good about it. And then Peyton Pritchard, 2.8K. I'm expecting around 10 or so minutes from. And if anyone gets into foul trouble, he could gain a little bit more. So he's a much better point per minute guy than Grant Williams. I will say this. If Grant Williams is going to play 15 to 20 minutes and Peyton Pritchard is going to play 10 to 12 minutes, just give me the 10 to 12 minutes of Peyton Pritchard all day because he's just a much better point per minute guy between the two. So point per dollar, I might prefer Pritchard over Grant Williams, but you're not going to feel good about playing either of them. All right, let's go over Golden State. Boston 7th in pace, 2nd in defensive rating. So I'm expecting Otto and Andre Iguodala to play. I'm expecting Robert Williams to play as well. So I don't have to go over why I like Steph Curry. Like, he's been phenomenal. His peripheral stats have gone up. His floor is much higher than it was in the regular season with how Golden State has been running their offense. His ceiling is extremely high when he's hitting his shots as well. So, yeah. Don't have to go over like Steph. Like I said, him and Tatum, it's a coin flip. Steph definitely has a lower floor, but a higher ceiling. Tatum has a higher floor, but definitely a lower ceiling. I think it's pretty close, but love both. Andrew Wiggins played 43 minutes last game. We're going to get 40 plus minutes of Andrew Wiggins. He's one of their best defenders, one of their best rebounders, one of their best scorers. Arguably has been their second best player in the playoffs, in my opinion. So yeah, Andrew Wiggins, if you don't have the money for Marcus Smart and you have 7.6K remaining, fire up all the Andrew Wiggins if you want to. I think he makes for a pretty good play in the mid range. Just with how he's stuffing the stat sheet, with how he's been rebounding, he's a good defender as well, can get you blocks, steals. So he's been aggressive on the offensive end as well. So yeah, I think Andrew Wiggins definitely looks pretty good. Klay Thompson, more of the boomer bust play. If he's not hitting his shots, definitely has a low floor. He's bailed out people who have played him with 2 blocks and a steal, a block and a steal. Klay Thompson ain't like that. He's not going to continue to average 2 stocks a game. So that has definitely helped his floor and ceiling the past 2 games. But he's probably going to play 40 plus minutes. Obviously has to hit his shots to reach value. He has a low floor, more of a boomer bust play. If Klay Thompson's going to pick up a lot of ownership, I'll continue to fade. Draymond Green has been god awful in this series, but I don't care that he's a bad basketball player. I don't care. Like I don't care. You can be a bad basketball player and you could be a good DFS play. Like look at this. He shot 1 of 7, 1 of 4, 2 real life points. Still went for 32 fantasy points while he was in foul trouble and while he got benched. Draymond Green at 6.6K, I still like. As much as you guys are going to hate me for saying it, I still like him at 6.6K. Now, ceiling wise, I think Clay, Wiggins, even Looney might have a higher ceiling than Draymond Green. So if you're going for pure ceiling, maybe I'd rank those guys ahead of him. But Draymond Green still has a pretty high floor. So if you're playing cash games, you probably just play Draymond Green. Now, for tournaments, you could definitely get away with fading him, but I still like Draymond Green just because he's going to stuff the stat sheet. You know, going to get you box steals. They're going to run their offense through him some as well. So I still like Draymond Green. You guys are going to hate me for it. And you guys are going to be extremely shocked by this, but I really like Kevon Looney. Gained minutes last game. Steve Kerr said he should have been playing more games after game 3. So we're gonna have to monitor the starting lineup tomorrow. But either way, I'm thinking Kevon Looney plays around 30 minutes, even if he comes off the bench. And if he starts, could play a lot more. Price went down to 6.2K, so I kind of really like Kevon Looney tomorrow. And you guys are gonna really, really hate me for saying it, but just a rebounding monster. He's been good on the defensive end as well. Um, yeah, I think Kevon Looney definitely makes for a good play. Now, would I be shocked if he goes back to playing 20 minutes? No, I wouldn't be shocked. Would I be shocked if Otto Porter plays more? No, I wouldn't be shocked. Would I be shocked if he plays less? No. There's definitely still risk with Kevon Looney, but it's hard for me to trust Steve Kerr when he says I should have played Kevon Looney more. It's really hard for me to trust him, but he did play him more after Otto Porter Jr. started. So if Otto Porter Jr. didn't start and Kevon Looney started that game, my guess Kevon Looney would have played a lot more, probably around 33 minutes. So it's hard for me to put trust in Kerr on what he says, but I kind of like Kevon Looney quite a bit tomorrow, assuming Kerr is telling the truth and that he wants to play him more and play around 30 minutes. But like I still said, definitely a lot of risk with Kevon Looney. Jordan Poole, more boomer bust, minutes kind of all over the place. Minutes wise, probably plays anywhere from 20, 25, 5.8K. Nothing more than a contrarian option to me. And then Gary Payton's been losing minutes, 3.4K. I honestly don't know how much he plays. If he's only going to play 10 minutes, give me Peyton Pritchard for cheaper. So just a tournament play. Gary Payton is. No idea how much he plays. Bielitsa, honestly, it's insane I'm saying this. He's the safest like pump play on Golden State. Steve Kerr has been shown to want to play him. He's been in the rotation pretty much every game of this finals. So yeah, if we're gonna get 2 shifts of Bielitsa at 1.4K, I definitely think he's firmly in play. And Iguodala, probably gonna be an DMP if I had to guess. So if you're playing Iguodala, just be prepared for 0. But like I said, it's also Steve Kerr, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the rotation. And then Otto Porter Jr. 5K, just if I don't know what to make of him. I honestly I have no idea how much he's going to play. So just a large field tournament option in my opinion. So hope you guys had a good night. Hope you guys haven't been punting money like I have the past 2 days, and I will talk to you guys later.